there is obviously there's a growing number of long COVID cases, and that is something that obviously has a strong link in with
Yeah,
CFS-ME. Would you be able to explain what the connection is
yeah,
between CFS-ME and long COVID?
good. Sorry, there's a bit of noise outside in the corridor. I hope it's not interfering with you. I was struggling a little bit to hear there. Yeah, so let me first define kind of the history of ME/CFS. It was probably first reported in the 18th century BC by a Babylonian philosopher, a description of a disease which sounds very much like ME/CFS. And then we know that almost certainly the mother of nursing, Florence Nightingale, had it, was it 250 years ago? And then the father of evolution, Charles Darwin. But people started reporting on this in about the 1930s. And initially it was reported as a result of infectious disease outbreaks that were isolated, geographically isolated, involved a few hundred or thousand people, and gave rise to a post infectious disease syndrome thought to be viral. So, um, but of course, subsequently, and from two of those, that's where the name MECFS came in, myalgic encephalomyelitis, from an outbreak in the Royal Free Hospital in London in 1955, chronic fatigue syndrome from an outbreak in Incline Village in Nevada on the shores of Lake Tahoe, a village of 900 people. And so the term chronic fatigue syndrome came about. Wasn't really, amazingly, until 2017 that the international community sort of accepted they'd use the term ME/CFS to encompass both the UK European names and the US one. So it's an umbrella term, really, that encompasses these infectious disease outbreaks. But what we found in the last 10 or 20 years is that you can get ME/CFS from other causes as well, and about 20% of the cases come from another major stressor in one's life. If you're a susceptible person, and maybe we can talk about that in another minute or so. And so, for example, major surgery can give rise to ME/CFS. If you work, on the land in the agricultural sector, agricultural chemicals, toxic chemicals can give rise to ME/CFS. And in my University of Otago young woman study group, patient study group, there was a young woman that had constant childhood abuse, and that came into ME/CFS. So 80% of the cases probably viral, from a viral illness, post-viral, and 20% from other causes. Now, of course, these have drip fed. So 20% of the cases of ME/CFS today are probably from glandular fever, that is Epstein-Barr virus, and they drip feed into the community. So today we think probably there are 45,000 people with ME/CFS in New Zealand, because it's accumulated, and for the large majority, unfortunately, it's a lifelong disease. So we just keep adding up more and more cases.